Welcome back to the Maximum Chillage Podcast, episode 21, Thanksgiving edition. It is Thanksgiving night. Well, I'm lucky enough to be joined here by...
I'm Tiki Mike.
Thank you for joining me on Thanksgiving, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you're usually pretty busy on Thanksgiving.
Not lately.
Not lately? It used to be, though. I know.
No.
Because when I was a kid, I used to want to hang out even on holidays.
Did you? What, like when we were in high school?
When we were kids, yeah. And I was hard pressed to find anybody willing to hang out on a holiday, like a Thanksgiving.
You know, because I used to have family that would come over and spend like the whole day there, and they wouldn't be there. Like they would be there for like a day or two, and so it was like, I gotta get in all the FaceTime with them now because they're gonna be gone. But now they just don't come, so now it's a little bit more free.
It's a little low key now. It seems to be the story with everybody where families, people
I feel like
pass away and things.
I think it's low key until there's other little kids. Okay. I think that's when it becomes active again.
Yeah, it'll ramp
and it's
up
just
again.
like, it's almost like holidays for the kids. And, once they're at a certain age, it's not so much of a big thing anymore. Yeah, man.
Which makes me sad because as much as I used to shit on Thanksgiving when I was a little teenage shithead, I liked being around my family. I liked everybody getting together and everybody, my cousins being there, even though I hate them. It's cool to see them and play some fucking football or whatever we did. Everybody went to go to Madison, your school.
Shit, dude.
We played football.
You guys did the whole, okay.
Yeah, we would go to the field and just play football, and then there'd be a fight, people get pissed off at each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, family shit,
But would that be before or after the meal?
I think it's before. It's like while people were cooking, we would go.
Oh, that makes sense.
Hang out at the school.
But yeah, all that probably got solved over mashed potatoes.
Dude, mashed potatoes are the best thing.
Yeah.
It's mashed potatoes to me. It's mashed potatoes number one. Stovetop stuffing, the cornbread one.
Okay.
And then Costco mac and cheese.
You see, I've never actually had more than just a sample from Costco mac and cheese.
Oh, man. You want some right now? We got a shit ton.
How many of those things do you buy?
We only bought one.
Really? And you still have a shit ton?
Dude, they serve you a big old tray.
Oh, crazy.
It's a fat tray of mac and cheese.
I know that they always sell out.
After the podcast, you can have a little plate.
Okay.
Make a little plate.
Sounds good.
So how was your Thanksgiving though? Since it is low key.
It's low key. I went to the casino.
Oh shit! You do that now.
That's what my grandma likes, gambling, and it's just like my family actually stayed overnight. She always gets free rooms comped, they actually stayed overnight yesterday. But I didn't want to gamble or do anything and stay the night, yesterday. So I just met them up there, and
you did that buffet,
dude. Yeah.
Why do casinos have the best buffets?
Dude, I don't know.
And you are a man who hates buffets.
I am. And you know what? I'm going to say today's buffet was not that great. The options are limited for me when they have Thanksgiving there.
Oh, yeah. But you know what?
Some of the options that I can normally eat are gone to make room for more gravies and ham carving stations.
Even though that you are vegetarian. People always say, what do vegetarians eat on Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is all about sides.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally the sides
it's
holiday.
All the carb sides.
Mashed potatoes. Green bean casserole.
Some people don't like yams, but, if you like
candied yams. Pumpkin.
I don't like the candied yams. I never had that as a kid, but, they had that there today, and that's why I couldn't eat the yams because there's marshmallows all over that shit.
My family's from Mexico, so, like, when we had Thanksgivings, we would just buy the prepackaged one from Save Mart, so they didn't really know how to make that kind of stuff. So we'd have like candied yams from Save Mart, and they're actually pretty good.
Hey, you want to know? You know what? This is what I want to know. I keep on seeing this meme with this canned turkey. Is that like a real thing? We should fact check that.
They have canned turkeys, yeah.
They have canned turkeys?
Yeah, they canned everything. You could buy a canned whole chicken.
Oh, man, that's
weird.
You
never seen that before?
No, dude, not in real life. I've only seen it on the memes where it says like, I don't remember what the memes say, but
you could buy a canned
the image is haunting,
whole chicken.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean,
with all that goo.
It has the goo.
How do you cook something like that with getting the goo off?
The goo's grease, so it melts.
No,
dude.
You
never opened a can of Spam? I know you haven't eaten meat in a long time. No. I ate meat a long time before. Stopped eating meat a long time after you. But there's like a gelatin.
It's just that residue,
and it's the fat that's coagulated.
It's dude, I don't like it. I don't like the idea.
That's where all the flavor is, dude.
No.
So at Thanksgiving, you don't even Black Friday shopping after this?
I went Black Friday shopping earlier.
Where'd you go? And what did you get?
I didn't get a goddamn thing.
I know you're the only person that I know who actually does Black Friday.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh man, dude. You know, when I was a kid,
I used to go buy DVDs.
Hey, you know what's weird? You know, when we were kids, Black Friday was on Friday, and it would be super early. It'd be like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and you would be freezing fucking cold. I'm just wearing a long sleeve right now. I was fucking hot. It was 6 o'clock when the Target, you know, I was coming back from the casino, and I hit up Target, and it was 6 o'clock. I was fucking almost sweating, dude. It's like weird. Like global warming is real, man.
Oh yeah,
like
it's hot.
It's fucking hot, dude.
It's hot.
I was bundled up as a kid doing that shit and trying to get free shit. They used to actually give free stuff. That's why we used to go
in line, right?
Like,
they give you incentives to be there.
Yeah, like I remember I got like a football from Mervin's, which is closed.
Oh yeah,
now,
rest in peace, Mervin's. That's where I used to get my Vans as a kid.
There was like a scavenger hunt kind of thing at Kmart, which is also closed now. But I remember, well, a few, but you know, we went to Kmart, and I remember there was like a scavenger hunt of hitting up all these spots, and I got like coloring books and all kinds of cool shit, and you know, maybe they're just giving away too much free shit, and that's why they're closed. But I remember there was like a line, like my mom had this shit like planned, like this store opens at 4, this store opens at 6, this is what they're giving away free here, this is what they're giving away free there, you know, we're gonna get this, leave, go get this. And it wasn't even so much about buying stuff, it was more just trying to get the free stuff. And we did buy some stuff, but like, you know, it wasn't so much like oh shit, I need to get this TV. It was like it was just get as much free shit as you could.
What's the coolest thing that you ever got at Black Friday? What was the best deal that you'd say, damn, that was a good deal?
You see, I'm not that good at it. I mean, I got a really cheap hard drive, external hard drive back when.
How much was that?
I don't even remember. I remember thinking this is a great deal. But yeah, other than that, nothing, dude. I think I waited in line with a friend to go to GameStop because he was getting a deal, and I was just buying like an Xbox 360 like 10 years after they were already out, and so there was no deal for it. It was already out for 8-10 years or whatever. So yeah, and that's actually what I was kind of looking for today was getting an Xbox One. Yeah, because I still don't have one of those. I actually haven't played games in like over a year.
You haven't had a system since the 360, right?
Yeah. No, I haven't. So I was going to check out the Xbox One, which it's the same price everywhere right now.
You know what my last console was?
What's that?
It was the Xbox.
Oh, yeah. You sold it to me.
Sold it to you, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last one I ever had.
You pressure upselled me on location. You agreed to a price. Then you came to my garage. And you said, but I'm also giving you all these games. And, you know, this is basically a computer, which it wasn't. The original Xbox was not a computer. And you used to say, I mean, you were trying to sell it to me like, dude, you could basically do computer shit on this now. Like, and
I mean, if you would have hacked it, you could have.
No, dude, not those. Those had no memory on it. You're a chiseler.
Well, I mean, I'm in sales now. I was born to do sales.
and I felt a little guilty about it. I was like, all right, another $20. All right. Let me get it to you. Let me get you the $20 next week. And then you son of a bitch.
It's in my blood, dude. I can't help it.
I don't like it.
I can't help it. I actually wanted to buy a PlayStation 4. But is there another one right now? There's the PS.
I mean, there's different grades of it. There's PlayStation 4
when
Pro.
It comes to consoles, I'm like
one.
you with technology.
Oh, dude,
like
I know nothing about technology, and I don't know nothing about the games.
I know nothing about consoles or what.
Dude, it's just
I just
like
want to play
space.
NHL 17, dude.
Hey, speaking of, I'm trying to. I'm trying to get counsel
we actually have
an audience member.
We have an audience
here.
member here again, Nasty Nestor. If you want to go and say hi.
He's the nastiest of nasties.
Nasty Nestor's here in our studio audience. Glad to have you here on Thanksgiving. Nasty Nestor's one of those kids who
specializes in taint smelling.
He also doesn't like Thanksgiving. He sent me a meme of the little girl from the Addams Family about how much he hates Thanksgiving. But yeah. So glad you're here for Thanksgiving. He's a He's a meme expert and also a gaming counsel expert. Well, we won't ask for his counsel on here.
Okay, well, really quick, I'm just saying the PlayStation Pro, is it just extra memory, faster processing?
PS4 Pro is meant for 4K gaming.
Just 4K gaming.
So if you have a 4K TV,
fuck it.
Which I haven't gone out and got a 4K TV. I actually never even used my TV because it is Thanksgiving. I wanted it to be a very joyous, special occasion for us because you and I are like family. Nestor, you're my extended family. You're like my second cousin.
That's an insult, dude. Yeah. All my second cousins, I don't even talk to, man.
Well, mines are pieces of shit, but it's neither here nor there. I actually brought us a very special gift today because it is our 21st episode as well.
Oh.
I thought, what better way to turn 21 than to bring some Virginia Black.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring out the Kevin Spacey movie, 21.
Oh, no. We'll talk about Kevin Spacey later.
Virginia Black?
Virginia Black. If you're not familiar with Virginia Black, this is Drake's whiskey. Very beautiful bottle. Go ahead and rate the bottle.
Hold on 1 second. But from what I understand, it looks like it's something from the 1920s. I'm not going to lie. It looks like a Cologne bottle, maybe.
It does look like a Cologne bottle.
But from what I understand, this isn't necessarily the primo whiskey. It's kind of a branding situation right here, right?
Yeah, I don't think this is $30, man. This was not very expensive.
Well, but that doesn't mean anything necessarily. So from what I hear, Tito's vodka, which is usually pretty cheap, is actually just as good as Grey Goose tasting.
Tito Fuentes or what?
I don't know. I don't know who Tito's vodka is from. I don't know if it's just an old brand with the name Tito.
Is Tito Michael Jackson's brother?
I don't know. Could be. But it's usually cheap, and it's supposed to be on par with, like, Grey Goose.
Okay, so Drake, the rapper, where's he from?
He's from Degrassi.
But where's he from, though?
Canada.
What kind of whiskey do you think this is?
Canadian dry whiskey.
You would think so. This is
I wouldn't think so. He's an American branded person now. He doesn't embrace his days of playing a wheelchair rapper.
Dude, he actually does.
I never.
He's a sixth god.
See him.
He's from the sixth, dude.
Nah.
Virginia Black is a decadent American whiskey. On the label, it says bottled by Virginia Black in Indiana.
Wow.
Virginia Black LLC, West Hollywood, California. Not from Virginia. Aged 2 years, distilled in Indiana. So we're going to give this bad boy a try. Ooh, it's kind of cracked open like a Sprite. It was like... Psst.
Yeah, that's odd. I mean, I've had some whiskeys before, and... Oh, that's a nice ASMR, dude.
Pour yourself some of that there. Virginia Black. Ever since I heard that Drake had a whiskey, I've been wanting it.
So how much did you pour? Oh, that's a lot.
A thimble.
Okay.
A good amount. Hey, chill on that, Nestor. Nestor will get all sloppy and be here till 2 a.m.
Hey, bro, I've seen it.
Yeah, I know. I kicked him out, and he had to hang out with him in front of my house. I'm not opposed to kicking people out. All right, so let's do a little.
You know what, dude? No, I'm gonna let it chill with the ice for a moment.
Oh, it's chilled, man. We don't have that much in there,
dude. No. This.
No, it smells like a minute. It smells like just a Jack Daniels.
Mm-mm.
It's not in my head. I thought this was the whiskey that I fell in love with.
Why?
I've always wanted to fall in love with whiskey.
Just that name branding?
Yeah.
Dude?
Well, it's Drake, man. He makes me fall in love with his music.
Like Crown?
No, not really. That's Canadian.
I like Crown. I guess if I had to choose one.
Nestor, did you take a sip of that, or are you just smelling it?
Hey, here's the thing about whiskeys, though. I'm not. I don't know too much about whiskeys. I don't know how to determine.
I would love to know
bourbons versus
the way they're aged and barreled and stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's just like it all almost tastes the same to me, which means that I have a very unrefined palate.
No, man, it tastes the same to me too.
Hey, and I
wine tastes the same to me.
I told this one customer about I saw him with the Coke. Whoa! I saw him with Coke, and I was like, hey. Not with Coke. I saw him with the whiskey, and I was like, "Hey, man, you forgot the Coke." And he got like almost offended.
Was it like expensive whiskey?
Nah, it was just like Crown, dude.
Oh,
but which is more expensive than Jack.
More, yeah.
But he was just like, huh. And then, but he's the one that I told you about that told me about that if you were gonna do something to get like a mineral water or club soda, ice that and use that to chill it. And
your whiskey, whiskey, or any alcohol.
He was talking about whiskey. But yeah, I think it's been up there long enough. I think.
All right, let's take a little taste of this.
Tasty. Oh no, I can't. Dude, my liquor days are done, dude. I say that, but I go back to it every now and then. I don't think I can.
Why did I buy a whole bottle of this?
I don't. Yeah, why did you, dude?
I did it for the gram, dude. That's gonna be a good gram later.
Dude, it's just gonna be a fixture in here. It's just
one time a friend of ours bought another friend of ours a bottle of Gentleman's Jack. And he always said, "Hey, how's that bottle of Gentleman's Jack?" And he said, "Oh man, it's really good." And then we'd ask him, "Hey, have you tried it?" He said, "No, man, just sitting there."
or he would be like, "Oh, I just had some the other day," and then we'd be like, "Bro, it's been like 2 years. How the fuck is it not gone yet?" And he was like, "Oh, I take a little bit here and there." Just fucking sat there, man. He bought the more expensive
Gentleman's Jack.
Okay.
That's the more expensive. It's like the Fender of Squire
Jack, or is that a different thing too? Is it Gentleman's Jack, and then there's a Black Label Jack too?
I don't know.
I know that there's a couple different grades.
I don't know. This whiskey, have you tried it yet?
No.
So for all those you wondering how it is, it tastes like Jack Daniels.
By the way, the glass that you chose for this is not good.
Why?
It's hard to just get it down the gullet.
It's a Stella Artois chalice.
Yeah, I know. Which almost funnels very slowly, as opposed to an open rim that you can just get it all in.
You're not supposed to take shots of this, man. You're supposed to enjoy it.
Oh, bro.
Did this fool bring crackers?
Bro, he brought Ritz crackers.
Nestor just brought some Ritz crackers to my podcast.
Hey, you know what? What I don't appreciate is that he's been sleeping on these the whole time. Didn't even offer one Ritz cracker. He's got a half a sleeve. I'm okay right now. Thank you, though. Thanks for the offer now. I'm okay. I'm all right. Thank you. But, I'm just saying.
Where's the Coke, dude?
Yeah, man.
So speaking of jit musicians, I would say. Not jit musicians.
I thought you were a huge fan of him.
Oh, I love him. But he's not respected as much as I'd love him to be. Just as this tour isn't as respected as I would like it to be. The Warped Tour. Kevin Lyman has announced that the Warped Tour is going to be the last final full year of tour. The country to wide tour. Actually, it's bigger than countrywide because they go to Canada too.
Oh, okay.
But
North American tour.
So Warped Tour is done. How do you feel about that? Me and you were
it's definitely
big Warped Tour goers when we were kids.
It's definitely a mark of our age and an end of an era. I feel like I haven't been.
I just went last year or 2 years ago.
I think you went 2 years ago.
Yeah, my friend bought me a ticket, and I was like, you know what? I'll just go.
And there were some bands that were resurging that were bigger when we were younger.
I saw Yellow Card's one of Yellow Card's last shows.
Really?
They're done.
They're just done?
They're done. I saw. They're old.
Time.
I saw Newfound Glory, which I'm pumped about. I mean, I don't care how poppy or kitschy they are. I love seeing them.
I don't know how many times I fucking listened to Sticks and Stones when I was in 8th grade.
Did I say the story so far?
Somewhere in high school. No, you didn't.
The story so far was there. And a lot of pop punk bands that are big right now. Like I can't tell you right now, but they were there. Bobby's real big fans of a lot of pop punk, and I got to see some pop punk bands, and it was cool. But you could definitely tell that it was on its last leg.
Yeah.
When we were kids, free shit up the ass. Like you would have a backpack full of free shit. You come home with stickers.
You would intentionally take a backpack
to get all the free shit.
Free shit.
It was all about swag. It was about merch and swag, free swag.
It was just like, I'm gonna get a bunch of band sticker sheets and a bunch of cool ass fucking magazines, and I'm gonna get a bunch of monsters and
oh my god, the best and worst part of Warped Tour was the free unlimited monsters, because it was we're from an area where it's really really hot in summer. It's about 110 when we used to see it here, and it's too hot to be outside.
I remember...
and I would go try to quench my thirst and alleviate this heat by drinking caffeine Monsters. No. I remember one year, I drank like 4 Monsters.
I remember one year, I think it was when it was hosted in the Salend Arena parking lot.
Yeah, that was 04.
Like, dude, it fucking... like, they ran out of cold Monsters, and they still had Monsters to give out, but they weren't being able to be chilled long enough, and they were just handing us warm-ass Monsters in the 100 and whatever the fuck degree weather it was, and it was god-awful, man.
That's disgusting. I don't remember this. I'm glad I didn't have any, because I would have probably done it. What's your favorite Warped Tour memory that you have?
Memory?
Band that you saw?
Well, there's definitely a lot of different years that I went back in the day. There's a lot of bands that I really loved that I saw. But I'm gonna get super nostalgic and go to my very first Warped Tour, 2003. I went on the Amtrak to Emeryville, where my aunt lives in the Bay Area. She picked me and my sister up. My sister had previously gone to Warped Tours, and she had exposed me to this kind of music with compilation CDs and stuff that she'd bring back that were like free. Fat Records would always put out these spoof album covers, usually with the overweight dude that worked at Fat Records named Floyd, and they would just do spoofs of like famous punk rock albums. And they would have like 10, 13 tracks of different bands from Fat Records. That's where I got, the year before I went to Warped Tour, that's where I ordered an Against Me album, NoFX, and Lawrence Arms, and Dillinger 4. And that's like my introduction to punk rock. And then the next year I was like super pumped and hyped to go see all these kinds of bands. And my sister took me there. It was cool. My aunt dropped us off at the pier where it was, and also San Francisco it's a lot cooler weather, and it's a little bit more of a fond memory because of that. I didn't have to deal with the heat, but it was such a different culture shock to me because I was an 8th grader in Sanger, California. I didn't know any punk kids. I didn't know any buddy that was into that kind of music. When I got there, it was just like a community of people. I remember just seeing like, 2 bands stuck out that year to me, which was like Dropkick Murphys. I remember seeing how devoted their fan base was at that time. There was this dude in a kilt and like, combat boots, and he had the guy
with the flag.
He brought the flag. Right. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. He went to a lot of their shows.
Saw him a lot.
And he was in the Circle Pit, and because I saw him after that too. I think I might have even seen him at a Fresno.
Is that a Fresno Dropkick Murphys show?
Yeah,
Dropkick Murphys set at Warped Tour.
Yeah, but yeah, he was there, and I remember seeing Rancid, and that year they had what album? Band. What album is that?
And
the one with the red.
Wolves.
No, after that, the red Indestructible.
Indestructible.
Okay, Indestructible had not released yet, and they hadn't released the music videos for the songs on there. But I remember the only song I knew from them at that time was like Ruby Soho, and I think Time Bomb, because my sister had downloaded those songs from fucking LimeWire. Yeah. This is how I'm gonna date myself here, and I remember hearing their speech in there. I remember hearing their speech in there about like, hey, I really want to see this big Circle Pit, blah blah blah, and they were just like giving the speech about what the punk rock community is, and about like, hey, if somebody falls down, you're gonna pick them back up because that's who we are. We watch out for each other. And then they proceeded to play Fall Back Down, which is before this was a music video, before the album had dropped, and it was really cool.
If you haven't heard Rancid's Fall Back Down, go listen to that. It's a great song.
So that is my fondest memories, because those were the introduction to like what I wanted to get into when I was gonna join high school the next year, and that's where I just absorbed all of that shit.
Well, honestly, if it wasn't for the Warped Tour, I wouldn't have got into punk rock, because it was you who got me into punk rock, and because you got into
knew
it.
Some bands
very loosely. I was listening to the Transplants. I think you were listening to
Transplants, and that's when I was like, hey, you should listen to Rancid.
And that's when I fell in love with Rancid, because Tim Armstrong, the guitarist from Rancid, his side project was the Transplants, and I like the Transplants a lot. And they actually played the first year that I went. The first year that I went was in 05. And
05?
I mean, 05 was the first year that I went. And if you look at the lineup, I'm going to read up the lineup right now. And it's crazy, like good, like a dream lineup right now. Transplants, Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, The Offspring, Strung Out, Dropkick Murphys, Hawthorne Heights, Avenged Sevenfold was there. Holy shit! Reggie and the Full Effect, Street Dogs, before they were not big but bigger, I guess. I didn't know about them till way later. Big D at the kids table.
Hey, that's another thing, dude, that I liked about Warped Tour is that they kind of brought out certain artists that were not even like punk rock. They brought them out before they hit it big, like Katy Perry.
I saw Katy Perry before she was big because she was at Warped Tour.
She was at Warped Tour.
She played right before Sum 41. It was the last band of the night.
I know Eminem was doing Warped Tour before he hit it off big. I mean, this tour has been around since what, 90? Fucking, I don't even know. It's on its 24th year, whatever that is.
93? 2006. Listen to this. No Effects, Anti-Flag, Motion City Soundtrack, Against Me, Senses Fail, The Casualties.
I believe that's the year that we saw him at Sound Arena that I'm talking about with the Warm Monsters that they were giving out.
Catch-22. Crazy. Like, looking at these lineups is just like crazy to me that we saw all these bands in one day. And it's a hard ticket to sell these days because back then, festivals weren't as big.
Festivals
are a huge thing now. And Warped Tour kind of just fell
by the wayside.
It's just kind of like...
And you know, they started bringing in a different genre of music.
It wasn't as punk rock, and it was more metalcore, screamo. Yeah. I think just metalcore really is what it turned into. And I think people grew up is what the problem was.
Yeah.
People grew up, and I don't know. I don't feel like...
people in the punk rock scene known for growing up? I don't know about that. I'm 28, still going to shows, you know what I'm saying? And when I say going to shows, I mean like 3 a year.
Yeah. I'm pretty sad that Warped Tour is going away. If you had... Okay, so it's been decided.
But I haven't gone in years, so, you know, as sad as I am about it, seeing it going away, it's definitely not affecting me as far as my plans go.
Would you go to the last... Are you going to go next year?
Maybe. It depends on that lineup.
What's your dream lineup? Who do you want to see on this farewell goodbye tour? If money wasn't a thing... if those people, if bands would just go, even though they're too big now, whatever.
You see, I don't know. I don't even know how to build that lineup right now.
Let's build the top 5.
I don't even know.
Blink 182 would be on mine.
Blink 182.
Yeah, because they were there in 04,
them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least, were they there?
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like I know that we've seen Angels and Airwaves at a Warped Tour.
Yes, we have. One year at Warped Tour, Michael peed in a bottle. And gave it to me to throw at a band that I won't name because I'm afraid that we're gonna get big one day and they're gonna sue us.
They wouldn't do that.
What was the band?
It was Aiden.
Yeah, Aiden.
I thought they were too much of a bunch of fucking posers, man. I'm gonna bring back that word, posers. I thought they were posers, dude. And you hadn't really listened to them much yet, so you ended up liking them.
Oh, dude, they're good.
But I went into a porta potty.
You can illustrate your life in romance.
And I peed into a bottle. And you took my urine bottle and you threw it at the bases. Yeah,
that's how much of a piece of shit that I am.
The least worthy to throw it at, and the most worthy to throw it at.
I mean, on his base, he had the Fiend skull.
Yeah,
drawn on the pit guard.
Yeah, he used to play with skeleton gloves. And,
yes, I think they all were kind of pretty. Trying really hard.
Yeah, they were hard. I felt like they were really trying to be like AFI, but a much poppier version of AFI, and that's what set wrong with me. Where I was like, "Fuck that band."
But I thought that they were really good. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd like to see them on the last year. I would definitely go to the last year.
Oh, okay.
I would definitely go to the last year.
Well, that dude doesn't play anymore. He plays as his own band. The lead singer. I forget what his name is, but he has his own solo tour thing going. And he just like wears black shirts, and like I don't think he does the white makeup anymore, but he does some makeup.
Did you know, speaking of these bands, and we just named one, the Casualties, did you know that Jorge quit a few months ago while on tour?
Nah.
He got replaced by the singer from another band. No.
An older.
No, they're not.
Band.
They're not older, but I think what is it? The Crust.
Some crust punk band, or what
I don't know. I don't remember what their name is, but we know who they are. So he quit in the middle of the tour. He just said, "I'm done."
Well, you know,
I mean, he was
like, I think he was like 40 when we saw him.
Yeah,
because I remember in an interview he wouldn't say his age, but he was like, "I'm a lot older than anybody knows," and yeah, dude. I mean, that dude's like probably like 55 now, and he's like, it's getting sad.
It was getting sad.
I remember when we
had
saw
the opportunity
him in a
to see
small
them.
venue. We saw him at the Belmont.
The Belmont. Shout out to the Belmont.
Was it even called the Belmont then?
It went through so many names. It was probably the exit at that time.
But
that's what was so nice about punk rock back when we were kids, is that they were going through the small clubs,
the small venues. Yeah,
that's not a thing that much anymore.
Yeah,
even though that we have a small club in our town.
Yeah,
it's not that small.
No,
it's still like a commercial vibe to it.
Yeah.
When we saw punk rock bands, we were literally going into a concrete building, like a brick building, which had very bad
area,
very bad area, very bad plumbing, absolutely dismal lighting, and the backstage area was just to the side, and there was no door or anything. You just see them just chilling right there, and it was just a known fact just not to go there.
No, I remember when we first saw them. That was my first time seeing the Casualties, I think. And I remember I saw Jorge just roaming around before the show with a hoodie on, with his hair down, all green. And I was like, bro, dude, that's fucking Jorge. And you're like, no, dude, nah. Those Liberty Spikes, it would take hours for him to get it up.
I thought it would.
And his hair was down like 30 minutes before that. I don't know how. He's very good at getting that shit up.
He did it for like 20 years.
Yeah, that's right. He was already 45 at this time.
He had perfected that, putting eggs in his hair, egg whites. But, I mean, yeah, so things are different now. And I think that's another reason why Warped Tour has kind of like come to an end. And people like Jorge are deciding to call it quits.
Hey, I do want to talk about this Warped Tour thing again, but can I get into a side thing?
Yeah.
What was your most regrettable punk rock fashion choice?
Honestly, I liked it all.
You liked it all?
Okay, so when I first started getting into punk rock, I didn't have a lot of punk rock stuff. My first back patch was a Casualties back patch.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have a blank hoodie to put it on. I put it on a Billabong hoodie that I had. So that was my biggest regret. I had a Casualties back patch on a Billabong hoodie. I was about 14, 15. I was young. And I thought I was badass. I was like, yeah, I have a Casualties back patch. And I got really into it for a while. I was wearing zippers on my pants, which, and looking back on now,
zippers that lead to nowhere.
Yeah. That weren't functional. They were glued on. Looking back on it, I don't regret it. Like I think I was badass. The bullet belt, maybe, I didn't like. I bought it in West Hollywood. I bought it in West Hollywood at a Army surplus store. Full on bullet belt. Never wore it because I felt like I was trying too hard. I bought it, put it on, and I was like, I could go without it.
For sure.
What was yours?
Mine.
I'll answer yours for you.
Oh, what's
your
that?
high water pants with Argyle socks.
No, I almost said the high water pants. I made all of my pants high waters, and I either had tube socks with rings on them or Argyle socks.
You were doing the whole Stranger Things rings on your socks thing before the Stranger Things kids were doing it.
But it wasn't that. It was I think it was really my homage to different characters from John Hughes movies, John Hughes 80s movies. But no, it wasn't that. I think my most regrettable thing was when I had kind of longish hair, and I used to wear those Irish immigrant hats. I don't know what they're actually called.
Like cabbie hats.
Cabbie hats?
Yeah.
I was wearing cabbie hats with pins on them with long hair, which is weird.
And also...
you need short hair for that.
And also, you had sideburns with a really long time. Really long chops.
You see, what was the problem with that was that I didn't know how to trim them as my hair grew longer. So, it'd be months in between I got another haircut, and those sideburns would just be long and funky looking mutton chops.
I know.
And
I told you
I didn't realize, shit, I just need to comb them to the forward, clipped the excess hair, and they look fine. It was years before. I think I was out of high school before I figured that out.
Oh, that was pretty terrible.
It was pretty bad.
I mean, I look like a rock star. You look like an idiot.
I don't know.
I had a mohawk.
I don't know. I don't know.
I had my TUKs.
I had some TUKs, brah.
Looked up TUKs. Looked up leopard print TUKs. That's what I was wearing.
Hey, you know what? I wasn't wearing the leopard print.
He was wearing ugly leather ones that were discounted. You had some weird leather ones, dude.
You know what? They usually wear the cheaper ones because, they're cheap, man. I was in fucking high school.
Those were expensive shoes.
Yeah.
TUKs were expensive and sucked.
That's why I had to get the cheaper ones. And that's why I wore them when they started wearing through my socks because the soles were gone.
Yeah.
And that's why I wore them.
Those shoes didn't last too long.
No, they lasted like 2 months at the best. And you just wore them shittily for the rest of the year.
I mean, that's another place, the place where we used to get those. I don't know I think you probably got them online. I would get them at a store. Valentino's, the punk rock shop of Fresno.
Still had it.
They closed.
Did they close?
They're closed.
Another mark of our age.
They're done.
Fuck.
Yeah. So let's segue.
Okay.
Speaking of things that need to grow up and shitty bands, pretty much. Suicide Silence, you remember them?
I remember Suicide Silence.
Okay, well, Suicide Silence had this tweet the other day. And it says, "Get the experience of a lifetime and be a roadie for the day when we roll through your city. Sign up to work alongside our crew. Stand stage side during our set. Hang out with us during sound check and more. Here's the package details." So for $150, you get to work alongside the crew.
Wow. Stage
side for Suicide Silence. Exclusive Sue Crew t-shirts. Working crew laminate. Food with the crew. So like whatever jit food the crew gets.
So hey bro, I got Taco Bell. Here's your bean burrito.
Yeah. So you pay $150 to work. They're making you pay.
They're making you pay for the free labor.
For free labor, they're making you pay.
But the experience of a lifetime, Chewy.
You know?
A fucking lifetime.
Having done a lot of roadie work myself, it's not worth $150 to even do it. You pay. If you said, "Hey, I'll give you $150 to do this," I'll be like, "Oh man, pass." That shit is hard. I've done roadie work for a lot of old school bands. Do you remember?
We did that at the venue, the Warner Theater, right? Some band that was there.
That was when I was a kid. This is more recent. When I worked at the radio station, I would do it for old school bands.
Oh, okay.
You know, who's the guy who's in Ace Ventura? The rapper?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
Funky Cole Medina.
Is that his name?
No, that's the name of his song. Tone Loc.
Ah, yes.
Tone Loc, Coretta Scott Kane, not Coretta Scott Kane, Evelyn Champagne Kane, rather.
Hey,
Zapp and Roger.
You were driving Tone.
I drove him,
right?
And then when I was done driving, I had to go set up the stage and stuff. I used to have to. They have really heavy flight cases that you have to take out of a semi. It's not fun. And then when I was a kid, I did it for Plus 44, and I did it at Star Palace. It's an upstairs venue.
Oh, okay, it was Star Palace.
Their freight elevator didn't work, so they were like, "Yeah, everything needs to go upstairs." And it was hot. It was like June. And I was like, oh. So I was like on the side pretending to hold it while everybody really held it. So I was probably making it way harder for them because it was too hard, dude. I think they tried it like once and I was like, nah, I'm going to strain my back and it's not going to be worth it because I'm not covered for this. The coolest thing though, which maybe if you get to do this, it's cool. I got to get groceries for Travis Barker. And that was the coolest thing about it. Because they were like, can you go to the store? I was like, sure. What do you guys need? I don't know. Go ask them. I was like, ask who? The band.
Oh, I didn't know that, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't know you.
So I was like, oh, where do I go? And they're like, they're in the bus. So I go to the bus, and before I go,
their hands?
Hold on. Before I go on the bus, they say, don't mention Blink-182. So I was like, oh, okay. So I go in the bus. And I'm expecting to talk to Travis and have a good time and whatever. It was the guitarist from Plus 44 that I got to talk to. And they were there. They were there, but they didn't talk to me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what do you guys need from the store? And then the guy, Travis Barker, would talk to the guitarist, who would then talk to me.
Fuck, dude. Rock star status.
I got them Morningstar sausage patties.
Oh, okay.
natural peanut butter. I didn't know that was a thing till that day. With the oil on top. They said, make sure the oil's on top. That's how they explained it to me. And that didn't make any sense in my head. I was like, they're fucking with me. The Fresno doesn't have stuff like that. And then Corona. And I was like, I'm not old enough. And then they said, say it's for Travis Barker. And I was like, okay.
Did you get it?
I went to the store and it was a girl my age. It's like they knew. And I was like, this, I had my badge on that said plus 44. And she's like, do you have your ID? And I was like, this is for plus 44. She's like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, Blink-182, Travis Barker. She's like, they're in town? And I was like, yeah. And she, you work for them? And I was like, yeah. And I was able to buy them Coronas.
All right, that's cool, man.
But it wasn't worth $150.
Bro, that's the experience of a lifetime. That was a story that.
How many kids do you think sign up for that?
Some. I'm sure there's some kid that's like 15 that wants to do it, and he gets his parents to buy him that shit. He probably is
15. How much use is he to them when he actually shows up? Because they're expecting somebody to be manual labor for them. They're hiring one less roadie because they're going to have these roadies. This is a way to save money for them.
They're paying gas the whole to their next stop. This is just like $150 definitely covers it.
Do you think Suicide Silence is still paying gas?
Definitely.
You think they're not big enough to
have like the record label just like pay for their
you don't
gas?
think they're big enough?
Not anymore. I bet they're dwindling now compared to where they were. I think at one point they probably had that kind of shit paid for, but I don't think they have that now.
They'll probably be on the Warped Tour.
They actually probably will. Well, they weren't. I think they were there last year.
I think they play every year, dude. They're just like Real Big Fish. They're there. They're the resident Warped Tour people. There's one thing for sure about Warped Tour. Real Big Fish will be there, and so will Suicide Silence.
Because I think they used to have a rule where you had to play you could only play every other year. Like you couldn't play year after year.
What? Tell that to Real Big Fish. That's honestly where are they going to make their money now, man? If they can't be on Warped Tour?
I don't know. There's not too many places selling fedoras anymore. There's not too many places, just pulling the whole checkered thing off anymore.
So, speaking of people who would be on Warped Tour, Lil Peep passed away last week. The day after our podcast, Lil Peep passed away of an alleged drug overdose. SoundCloud rappers, what's your opinion on them?
I think I judge them too hard, not giving any chance to a lot of them, just based on the look, just like, nah, that fool's a fucking clown. And seeing interviews with them, and I'm like, nah, that fool's a fucking clown. I've given a little listen to some here and there.
Lil Peep's good.
Lil Peep is decent. He's not bad.
I mean,
I don't think it's like necessarily hip hop what he was doing.
Uzi.
I don't think it was necessarily hip hop, but it's a version of hip hop.
Pop punk.
Yeah,
it was like pop punk on trap beats.
Yeah, it's interesting enough to have in the background at least. It's not terrible.
You know what that would be good for? I mean, when I listen to music, I think about where it would go in a movie, in a score,
like a Project X movie.
No. This is sad music, dude. This is slow.
It is.
This is kind of like this is like top down.
Cool.
This is top down driving on Mulholland Drive or in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, kind of like Drive Ryan Gosling. Mm-hmm. If you replace the music to Drive to Lil Peep,
no, that music's solid. That's in that soundtrack.
Kravinsky.
No, I just saw it. What it is, it's like Project X, but without all the funny jokes and just all the sadness of drug repercussions. And it's just this indie flick that just becomes the new staple of indie flicks, and that's the music that's in the background. A new Harmony Korine film, a new version of Kids, a new version of I don't know, anything Harmony Korine.
Dude, that movie makes me feel like I have cancer.
Oh, Kids. Because everybody has AIDS.
Yeah,
at the end.
Like dark stuff just makes me feel like I watched Baskets for the first time.
I've never seen.
Was Zach Galifianakis? Zach Galifianakis.
The TV show. I've only seen the intro, which I fucking love. I've never actually seen the show.
That show makes me feel like I'm dying.
Oh, dude, you know what? That actually is one of the things I wanted to bring up. That's an FX show, right?
FX, yeah.
Okay,
They're the best shows.
Something that they do have a lot of great shows, and that's another thing. And this is a subject that I've touched on before, is that I am very saddened to see that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a staple of mine,
taken off of Netflix
to watch and rewatch, which I haven't rewatched in a while. That's why I've been binging for the past 2 days. It's fucking taking off Netflix, and they're removing all of their shows from Netflix.
All of FX's shows?
FX is trying to create, just like Disney was doing. Remember how I was talking about how in a couple years Disney's going to have their own streaming service?
Yeah.
FX is trying to do the same thing.
I noticed that they're taking off Terriers season 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you remember Terriers, the show?
I love the show. I still haven't seen the very last episode. I've seen all of the episodes except the very last episode, which kind of resolves it, but doesn't resolve it.
Doesn't resolve it at all.
But it kind of resolves some issues.
A little bit.
But I didn't see that episode. And is that already gone?
It's this next month. They're taking it off.
I got to go watch it
now.
Just
like they're taking off It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
If you've never seen Terriers, it's this one-season show that didn't get its light in the day. And it stopped after one season. It's actually a pretty decent, funny show. You should check it out, especially since it's going to be gone within a month. Just binge watch Terriers.
If you haven't seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, please go binge that.
Yeah,
go binge watch that.
But that's my problem with this whole streaming service thing, is that, again, like, I used to invest in seasons to own, and I had it forever. Now I stream shit, and I'm at the will of that provider.
Do you really need to see It's Always Sunny for the rest of your life, though?
Bro, yeah.
It's really good.
Dude, there's so many quotable lines in It's Always Sunny, and we have reused those jokes driving in the car many a time.
It's true.
And to keep that fresh in your mind is so good. I have not seen It's Sunny in Philadelphia for about a half a year, maybe.
The new season.
Yeah.
Or just
the last season was the last time I watched it. But now that I know that it's going to be gone, I'm trying to binge it all over to try to get it all in before it's gone, which it's going to be gone in like December 9th or something like that.
They're taking it off in December. Well, speaking of Netflix, the net neutrality thing, it directly affects Netflix.
Does it affect Netflix?
It affects everything, but it affects Netflix in this way. So right now, an internet service provider cannot slow down your internet because they feel like it, because they want to, because they want you to use their content. Under net neutrality, Comcast can slow down Netflix so you're encouraged to use Comcast instead of Netflix. So they'll slow down your internet when you're on Netflix, so you'll be more inclined to use Comcast, which is total bullshit. And
it is.
Netflix is really against it. Netflix is on the forefront of fighting it and trying to fight for net neutrality, but it's gaining steam. So if you're listening right now and you haven't gone and called,
there's a lot of political interest in this. There's a lot of lobbying to get this passed, where companies can choose and decide when and where to limit access to certain things, have more access to other things, make you more likely to buy certain things.
I saw something, I don't know if it's true.
What's that?
If you're going to go on not safe for work websites,
more liquor, bro.
Little Virginia Black never hurt nobody. If you
want
to go on not
safe to Drake's last album, dude, he's a sad guy.
If you want to go on not safe for work websites, you got to pay $20 extra bucks.
Ooh, that's gonna affect me, bro.
You have to be on that. You have to be on that Starbucks Wi-Fi, being all sus.
Oh, being all sus. Not with their agreements.
I don't know what I'm agreeing to.
But I've never tried to look at porn on a public.
I don't know why I tried that again.
I don't know why you tried that again with no ice. Last time you had it sitting in ice for 5 minutes. I tell you, it cools it down.
Oh man,
it makes the kick a little less harsh.
I'm not a big liquor guy.
No, dude, I'm not a big liquor guy. I
used to be.
I used to be.
You used to get all punchy.
I used to love just having liquor instead of beer.
When you're on liquor.
No, dude, I hate myself on liquor. Actually, I love myself when I'm on liquor. I love myself until the next day, or maybe about midnight, when I'm just throwing up a bunch of shit, and I'm like, never again. Oh, it's your birthday? All right, I'll take a shot. And then one shot becomes 8 or 11. And then it's just terrible. And it's just little memories and people having to fill me into what happened. And like, oh, I was trying to jump park benches. Oh, shit. Oh, you mean I like threw up and the dog in the backyard was eating it? And I was like, hey, don't eat that. Get away from it. No, I don't.
Or me squeezing lemons into your mouth and you say, no.
Yeah, I don't like liquor anymore, dude. It's, it's just a wedding and a birthday thing for me now, It was just a wedding thing, but there's too far in between where I feel like the mic's got to get out, and I made it open to birthdays too, But yeah.
You listened to last week's episode.
I did listen to last week's episode.
For the very first time you've listened to an episode.
It was, yeah.
So let me know, how did you listen to it? On what platform?
iTunes.
Oh, you did listen to it on iTunes.
I downloaded it.
Oh,
I downloaded it.
Thank you. We're up to 25 cents in profit right now.
Oh, good.
You're one of those cents.
Well, I better see some of that. You know what I'm saying?
You better quit your job.
Dude, I'm just waiting to put in my 2 weeks.
We're on the incline, dude. There's no stopping us now.
Hey, speaking of, I just want to thank all of the people that have reviewed up to this point. I saw that we had like 5 reviews on there. Thank you for taking the time.
Keep them coming too, please. If you're listening right now on iTunes, please give us a review. We absolutely appreciate it.
Not only for taking the time to listen to it, but to actually review it after that.
Are we live right now, Nestor?
Oh shit!
Those of us live.
Okay.
Those joining us live, please go to iTunes. Leave us a little review-zy there, and we would really appreciate it.
Like, even if it's not even on iTunes, just a comment on Instagram. Just a little feedback helps. I like it.
Rigo, your coworker Rigo gave us a shout out
to Rigo for posting that he was listening to it and advertising us a little bit. And shout out to anybody that's ever talked to me about it or messaged me about it.
My cousin is actually on the radio professionally, messaging me and said that he really liked one of our segments and he felt like he was here with us and he was laughing along with us. He said that our laughs were contagious, and that means a lot from a person who does it for a living.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah. They get paid to do it. We get paid 25 cents. He gets paid actual money.
I will say, though, I do apologize for something, though, because I was listening to it for the first time, and I've listened never because I hate the sound of my voice. I just can't listen to anything that I've ever said before. But I was listening to it, and there's a lot of... I have a terrible delivery.
Have you tried to correct that this time?
I think I've just been drinking, so it just comes out. If you feel like it's been better,
I've never noticed it. I do it too.
No, I feel like yours is a little bit more professional of a voice, or delivery on what you're gonna say. I have never written shit down. I've never, and it comes through, I think. But I'm gonna try to correct that for your guys' sakes, whoever's listening. Thank you guys for listening.
I listen to the Bob and Tom show every morning. If you're not familiar with the Bob and Tom show, they are older gentlemen who talk about just dick and fart jokes. And I noticed that we're a lot better than them. So as long as we could keep it better than the Bob and Tom show, I think we'll be okay. Because they just say like, did you hear about the lady who sat on her tit? And they're like, ah! And I'm like, oh my God. Like, how are people doing? Another one that I listen to that I absolutely hate. Have you heard of Ethan Klein and the H3 podcast?
Yes.
Fucking hate that podcast.
I haven't listened to it, but I've heard about it.
So he's just an idiot who agrees with anything that anybody comes on has to say. So if it's a far right, alt-right person, he's like, well, why do they think that you're a bad guy? What's going on? Like, are they stupid? And then if it's a far left person, like, I don't know why people think you're so left. Like, what's going on? Kind of like Joe Rogan, the same jerk-off shit.
A little bit of a placating to whoever the guest
Well,
is.
you're a spineless person. You can't confront a person who you're in front of who you don't agree with. And
you might have views, but you don't have them while they're there.
Yeah.
You're sitting on fences a lot of the time.
You sit on fences. And that's what I don't appreciate about a lot of the stuff that I listen to podcast-wise. And that's a lot of the stuff that's popular right now.
Because there's a difference with giving a person a place to speak, letting them, fucking say their spiel.
Yeah.
Let them have a
freedom of speech.
Platform.
Let them go.
But then
I'm not going to agree with you, though.
Well, I do disagree with you on this. I'll let you, we'll agree to disagree kind of bullshit. But I don't see that from necessarily
like Joe Rogan when he had Alex Jones on. He's like, "Oh, you're a genius, Alex Jones."
He would be like, "Oh, let's look that up." And it would have something that would contradict what Alex Jones just said, and he wouldn't call him out on it. And he was just like, "Huh, so it's a little different, but yeah, I see what you're saying." And he like during his fact check, he wasn't like saying, "No, dude, this totally contradicts exactly what you just said." He would be like, "Oh, I guess what you're saying is blah 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 blah," and it lost a little bit of respect for him. I like his.
Why are you gonna go see him when he comes to Fresno?
Probably not.
Tickets are expensive.
Probably won't go out.
$75.
Oh, $75
$75 to see that guy.
At the fucking Tower Theater?
I think it's a State Mart Center.
Oh, really?
I think so.
He's gotten bigger then.
I think so.
Because last time I remember him coming through, he was at the Tower Theater.
Nestor just hit his head ugly on my wall.
On a fixture of his wall.
Oh, Virginia Black, huh?
Oh, one shot of Virginia Black and 3 Ritz crackers does you in.
I'll get you some food right now, man. There's a diner. What? Thank you for charging it. Nestor, everybody. But yeah, so I feel like we're a lot more genuine than a lot of people. Like, that's what I'm getting at. I think we're a lot more genuine than a lot of people who are on
air.
On air right now. Not on air, but podcast-wise, like Ethan Klein, H3, and Joe Rogan, and Bob and Tom, for that matter. Fucking idiots. So, do you have any final thoughts? Might take us out with some final thoughts. H3 podcast, Joe Rogan, Warped Tour, whatever.
Okay, Warped Tour.
I will miss you, Warped Tour. I'll say that.
I will miss you. I don't know if I will see you. I'll have to see the final lineup, but I have many fond memories with you. You introduced me to a whole subculture that I fucking absorbed as a kid.
You ruined his life.
You also ruined my life, but that's neither here nor there. You brought me some enjoyment along the way of ruining my life. Fucking, don't sit on fences. If you have a guest and you disagree with them, you can politely disagree with them. Don't just fucking placate to them. It's not a jerk-off fest when you have a guest. What else did we talk about? We talked
Lil
about...
Peep. Rest in peace, Lil Peep.
Rest in peace, Lil Peep. As much discredit I've had towards SoundCloud rappers in the past, you showed me that there's a different side to SoundCloud. You showed me that at 21, he was only 21.
Making all kinds of money.
He could have had a lot more potential. Stop doing Zanny bars, Zanny bars, one or here and there. What's gonna say? Have a glass of wine, a little Zanny bar, whatevs, but don't be just fucking taking 7, 8 at a time.
I used to sell my painkillers to Michael Steinhauer.
Oh, well, that was back in the day, dude. I mean, that was back in the day, and I just had a couple with a couple beers. I wasn't taking 10 at a time and fucking smashing them up and snorting them and shit. We
were 18 years old.
Yeah. Dude, we were less than that.
No.
We were in high school.
I was straight edge. I would just sell them as if that was any better. Like Wally from the Straight Edge band.
Oh, yeah.
selling weed.
Well, he was transporting it.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so...
Suicide Silence, go be a roadie for the day for $150.
Hey, you know what? It might be the experience of a lifetime. You might talk about it 10 years from now.
One thing that we didn't talk about, that I don't know if you want to talk about now or we talk about it next week, doesn't matter to me.
We might have to do it next week because I've been holding in this urination for
the piece of shit that is Morrissey defended
minutes.
Kevin Spacey. We will talk about it.
Something we need to talk about next week.
We'll talk about it next week
because I got to get into that one. And
as always,
I don't have the time for it. I'm about to run out your door to take
follow
a
us on Instagram, subscribe to us on iTunes, like us on Facebook, and have a freaking great Black Friday. I would love for you to go get some great deals. And goodbye.